Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey. Hello, Mark. Hello.
Hello there.
Oh, hello. Hello. General Mark.
How you doing?
Hey, guys. Hello to Mark. Hello to everyone. Welcome back to another episode of DangIT Prodcast. This is episode 386. I was checking last time. I kept saying 384 or something like that. That was 385 for sure. And this is 386. So welcome back, everyone. Shout outs to Bryson in the chat. Hello. How are you doing? Damn, dude. I'm currently sitting in I'm at like a mixture of like happiness because of a couple game pickups this past week, but I'm also in my feels too because I finished Telluride 2, and it's at a point where like if you play like an RPG, you actually get pretty connected to the characters. Seeing an end just makes you so emotional, and that's what ended up happening to me. And I was like, damn, dude. And this was like late at night. It was probably like 2 a.m. when I finished, and then there's a bunch of extra stuff that shows up, not like gameplay related, but I was like just tuning into that, and I was just like, damn, dude, I need time to recover. It was rough to just sit through the final cutscenes, seeing everyone say their goodbyes, and I was like, please come out with a third game. Please don't separate them like this. Please. So I'm currently going through that. I mean, I can definitely go in and just talk a little bit about like my thoughts about the game in general. But Mark, what have you been up to this past week?
Just kind of hanging out, bit of Smash with some friends, the Battlefield 2042 10-hour trial I've been doing, and
You smash with your friends?
Yeah, Smash with the friends.
Nice. I'm sorry, continue.
But yeah, that's pretty well, that and just the usual stuff of life, you know, just hanging out day to day.
Yeah, I see. I know that I was trying out, and I think you've been playing a bit of it, but Forza Horizon 5.
Yep, I saw your drive it's hard today.
Oh, nice. I didn't really get far. I just wanted to start the opening just so that like whenever I want to jump in, I could just jump in, and I'll just be like out in the open road to choose whatever I want to do. Not like after the cool like cinematic race, literally being dropped off into the open world to go to one simple destination, not even 30 seconds in behind the wheel, I just see a collision like up ahead, and I'm like, well, I can't really avoid this at this speed.
I'm going too fast, pain.
So I hit it, and I pressed rewind and just paused and made the clip. I was like, this game.
This was my introduction to Forza Horizon 5.
Everyone else is a menace. And it's interesting that they have this whole game that's the premise of whatchamacallit, people just being allowed to drive like recklessly, and that's just like the name of the game. And it just mind-boggles me because that's definitely like that's like fourth wall breaking. Like no one would ever want this to happen. But here we are, just driving as recklessly as possible, possibly like smashing into things, whether it be other people's cars or just simply like some picket fences. It's a whole menace, that game, but it does look really, really good, and it runs very smoothly too. They've definitely done so much like with the optimizations. It's pretty crazy. I think that Forza Horizon 5 actually performs a lot better than, well, I wouldn't say performs a lot better. It's just that it utilizes resources to the point where it can do like 4K, like 60 frames. But then there's also like Microsoft like Flight Simulator, which I think doesn't do 100% well, but I think it at least pushes like 60 frames on like series. But otherwise,
It still plays really good.
Yeah, so it's just, and it's kind of crazy that like we have like games like those too that like really push of like how things can perform and look so like lifelike, honestly. I do know that Flight Simulator, or at least I heard it online, is that Flight Simulator is actually a series exclusive. So a normal Xbox shouldn't be able to play it, but you could correct me if I'm wrong about that.
Not yet. Hope like I think they're looking to do that by enabling streaming on it at some point.
Yeah, like I guess the best thing would probably be like cloud gaming and that, if anything. Which yeah, that could definitely work. I know that
That's the way of making sure the series games can be played on the other Xbox.
this is true. Yeah, honestly, that's a great workaround. I mean, if you already have like Game Pass Ultimate and you just have like any other like previous Xbox One generation, then it's like there's a way to get around it if you already are pretty much subscribed to everything. So good workaround.
Yeah. Also been reading plenty of manga.
Nice. You know what? You were telling me about how what was it called? Hunter's Guild. Had ended. It actually did just end. And I mean, this is all hindsight, but I do feel kind of bad that they had to end it the way that they did, which is pretty much to give you like the meta ending.
Did you actually read it?
I did. I didn't
You
really
went back and you caught up.
No.
It made even less sense.
Trust me, I've seen and read a lot of like anime / manga respectively, and I know how these things play out.
I know, but still, like I said, you probably should have just read it all because I mean, the second to last chapter is where it gets really fucking meta.
Yeah. But like essentially what I like got out of that was just that like, oh, it's just the fact is that it is, as you say, just like a narrative, just kind of like speaking out to the fourth wall without absolutely breaking it, but just making it part of just the canon stuff. And the way that they ended this was just simply to call it just like the never ending type of journey, or at least the story has just begun, and we are just kind of left with like those characters to go off on their own adventure to do what they gotta do.
The guild protects us. A book. Everything written in the book will happen. Anything you take out of it will not happen. Anything you change in it will happen.
So
all to appease some ruthless gods known as readers.
Yeah, known as the readers. But yeah, it's
called the fuck out.
It is what it is. I think they just did the best that they could, like given the circumstances. I mean, like, I can't imagine what it's like when some higher up needs to tell you that, hey, your sales aren't doing too well. Like, at least just like the numbers aren't doing so well for your series. We're gonna have to cut it. It's like, what? Ah, shit. They you call up Horikoshi-san and you're like, shit, dude, it didn't work out. And he's like, oh shit, dude, I get you. I know the feel. Here, you gotta write it out like this. Because correct me if I'm wrong, I think Horikoshi also had like a couple works that weren't published, and it took up to My Hero for that to go forward.
Yeah, Horikoshi. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people did. I mean, even like Black Clover. He had one in before where he actually got Black Clover done.
I see. Okay.
I think his name was Tabata. I think it's Yui Tabata. I think is his name.
Oh, okay. I think.
And that. But,
go ahead.
I mean, like, not only that. I mean, Toriyama had a couple different manga works before Dragon Ball was made. Like Dr.
Slump. You know, I was reading the Reddit thread about Hunter's Guild because I was really curious when you told me that like it was ending. So I went on.
A lot of Western fans were very upset.
It sucked. I think I kind of got like that insight like gleamed out like by like some other user on Reddit. They were saying that like, oh hey, you know, other like writers have gone through this before where they have a lot of works that have been they've worked on in the past, but none of them actually went forward except for like whatever they're known for now. And someone else had like attributed to the fact that there's a certain type of genre that people want to stick to see if that sticks, and that ends up becoming like the mainline like series, even if it's kind of comes off as kind of quote unquote generic, if you know what I mean. I just want to get your thoughts about that because I get that.
But if
Like
it's generic, then it stays.
right, because the
I
idea
would
was
disagree.
that other projects in the past kind of like pick out on like a certain type of thing that doesn't really quite stick with like whatever the audience is. And
Well,
so
that's the thing. I mean, you can like. I mean, there's it's a half truth in that because I think that they make sense when they say yes. Here's your target audience, so you try to keep in within that target audience. That's all fair. But I think what he's mistaking is it's not that you have to be generic. You can innovate, but here's the thing: if you try to go too different, you are gonna flop. It's the fact you got to find a balance between taking the regular shonen formula and you need to put your own personal twist on it, your own little tweak. That
that
is
yeah.
that is definitely a big thing for success in Shonen Jump. Is that we've had series that'll either really take that formula, tweak it a tiny bit, tweak it a certainly large amount, and it seems that more on the lines of those that take the shonen formula and actually use it correctly to their series, they tend to see their series last a lot longer. Whereas people who maybe take a while to pick up their feet or maybe try to change too much about the shonen formula, they don't see the same amount of success.
I honestly like we're talking about like shonen, but I'm also thinking about like the isekai subgenre too,
The
because
isekais will be fine.
yeah, they'll be fine because I it's pretty much what you said is that there needs to be some like element of like uniqueness to them while also kind of adhering to like what made like a previous work so successful. The whole idea is that you take a random like person and then transport them into like a new world where they may or may not have some context of how they can go about doing things, and they have to work through the rankings and level themselves up. And there's already stakes at point because it's not a video game, it's actually their real life now. So they die in the game, they die for real. It's essentially what it is. I think yeah, definitely some popular takeaways from just like that subgenre. Like ReZero is a popular example, one that I kind of like stick to as well. There's also the more recent like Jobless Reincarnation, where it kind of it's more of like a personal tale that is a little bit more like organically like actually I think both ReZero and Jobless Reincarnation do a lot of good in writing their characters to be just actual people like at the end of the day, and that
But
our main protagonist
are they
works
this
through yeah they push through, but they are absolutely flawed. um
look in the call. Are they this innovative though?
um oh sorry, let me oh my god, what is this?
The
So
story of an isekai farmer.
Isekai Farmer. Okay, so Mark just sent me a Discord message of this little, I guess a little bit of a promotional art here. The story of an Isekai Farmer. I don't know, but listen, they already put waifus up the cover, so of course people are gonna be like jumping in on that.
And much like any isekai, it's a harem series. And
Oh no,
I looked this man's character up. This man seems like a genuinely good person, but also this man doesn't fuck around with his harem, bro.
he doesn't fuck around with the harem.
Look at this list.
Oh, oh.
Let's do a count. 1 wife, 2 wife, 3 wife, 4 wife, 5 wife, 6 wife, 7 wife, 8 wife, 9 wife, 10 wife, and then 1 child, 2 child, 3 child,
Y'all
4
seen
child,
this?
5 child,
Kirby seen this?
six,
It's funny
six
because
child,
Kirby's
7
showing
child,
up a little
8
bit.
child, 9 children.
Well, damn, dude. Like at that point, like the whole initial like wall for a harem has already been bypassed. He already has the kids of every single one.
I know, he's literally got a child for each wife.
Yeah, dude. Does this happen throughout the series, or is this just like from the get go?
Throughout the series.
Oh my god, dude. And
So
he
I'm
still
like,
looks like
yo,
that.
that's what I'm like, yo, Other isekai protagonists, you lacking.
You all struggling in your isekai? What you mean?
Get ready to say, I mean, like we got people like people like the Chad Kazuma, I can respect him. I can respect him. He's just trying to get with his girl right now. We all know who he ends up with. Everyone knows. But I mean, I respect him for being monogamous like that. I get it. And then, but we also got someone who makes some decisions that people might not agree with, like, you know, you know, Subaru.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Listen, I like Rem. I love Rem actually. But
Everyone thinks he's a fucking idiot for not choosing her.
listen, love is different that way. So no matter how much he like loves and cares about Rem, it can never like amount to how much he loves and cares about Amelia. Well, maybe not cares because they're kind of equal, but loves like Amelia, you know? Listen, I'll support like Subaru and what he like chooses, who he chooses to love in this point, because it's just simply a matter of like who was there at the time.
Even though one did far more for him than the one that he actually cares about.
Listen, could you imagine if the artwork that the person had done was the right, like, was the actual outcome where it was Subaru, a little bit older with Rem and like 2 kids, and
I would have been happy with that ending.
would have been happy. But what if he died? And well, actually, no, they kind of like established it in the 2nd season. But yeah, one of the things I thought about was that, like, what if he died and he got like, I mean, of old age, he was happy, but then he wakes up and he's back to like a certain like checkpoint, like before he made the decision. It's like, fuck.
At least we got to experience that happy life.
Oh my god. We talk about that, and then we also talk about the fact that Itachi, for example, like Genjutsu's that one girl who wants a future with him and gave her that future before he killed her. And I was like, fuck.
There's a difference. There's a difference between the Subaru one and the Itachi one. The Subaru one, it's like he can't the death thing, he can't help. If he dies, he just restarts. Itachi didn't have to exactly do that.
Yeah, but but Mark, he understood the assignment.
He's like, I'm gonna let her live a happy life with me before I just end her. I'm just like, what the
fuck? They try to ration that out, right? Where it's just like, he cares about her, and honestly, I think he would have. No, actually, they sometimes depict her as like an actual girlfriend of his. So before he absolutely ends her life, he's like, hold on, baby. Let me give you like one good like snippet. But it's like literally a second for her or for him, and he just like stabs her.
I realized something. Wasn't she from the Uchiha clan?
She was.
And isn't he also from the Uchiha clan?
Of course, he's also from the Uchiha clan.
Wouldn't that mean they're related?
Probably, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about it.
I'm seeing some problems there.
I get what you mean. In any other context outside of like fiction work, I'd be like, yeah, no, they're related. That seems a little off. But because it's Itachi, I'll give the pass to Itachi.
I was gonna say, unless they're just from all intents and purposes, if she's a part of the clan and he's part of the clan, that means in some way they are blood related.
They are probably blood related, unless there's people who come into the whole situation and just like further spread out that the genetics there. But as you say, it is still part of the bloodline.
It could be extremely diluted for all we know, but it's probably there.
Shout out to Sasuke, who doesn't have a choice in how he repopulates.
But he has all the choices.
He has all the choices. Although it doesn't really, it's not going to be his fault as to how like the genetics get mixed in again.
I'm still wondering why he and Sakura stopped at 1.
Well, honestly, like I think when things calm down, they might reconsider, but they're going through the whole Boruto thing, so it is what it is.
It's like, I mean, Naruto had 2, but Sasuke is like, need to rebuild the Uchiha clan. 1 will do.
This is true, but I mean, I guess this is not really a good excuse, but it also means like he's also kind of going through the whole journey that he had, and of course Sakura like joined him like at a second point later on, in which they had the one child, but I mean, we've seen all like the specials of like Sasuke depicted as kind of a trashy father, like at first, and then like immediately fixes that. But right now he's kind of
Like Vegeta.
yeah, kind of. But he's a lot more forgiving now. But both of them. But it's just that I think he's just too preoccupied with like what's going on in the current arcs now that he can't really focus on like building the clan back together. I mean, he's like indebted to like Naruto like through and through, so there's that too. So he's just simply doing what he can, especially since he and Naruto both have gotten like a debuff.
Essentially. But there's also but since we're mentioning those, since we mentioned Hunter's Guild, I'll also mention the other manga that started around the same time as it, Neru, The Way of the Martial Artist. It looks like its lifetime will also not be for very long because they've said they've reached the climax, meaning it probably doesn't have much left.
Oh, okay.
Which is unfortunate because I do like Neru's art style.
That is unfortunate. Was that also a thing where they were talking about it? It's like, oh, this is the thing that's happening right now. So just letting y'all know.
Yeah, they said at the climax. I was like, whenever they say a series that's climax, that they're just like, oh, back, not much time left.
Damn. All right.
That's where I'm like, it's not like they're saying the arc is at its climax or like this certain chapter is at its climax. They're saying the series is at its climax. I was like, oh.
Yikes. Okay.
And I mean, I'll be the first one to say, I'll be the first person to fucking say, I have seen a bunch of goods of what looked like good series in Shonen Jump be fucking axed.
It is what it is. Like the people like in Shonen Jump clearly want to have like people like read their stuff, and so they pick out like series that can be like really popular.
Well, they judge it by rankings and sales.
Yeah, so I mean,
because at the end of the day, as much as we all want to say it should be the fans that decide, you still kind of do, but it's a business at the end of the day.
Right. So even though and that's kind of like one of the issues is that like you and I can be a fan of something, but that doesn't like ensure the prosperity of like that series going forward, because it just depends on the masses too.
And I mean, there are certain creators or certain series that just have the clout, and they have the
This is true.
Like, they just have the notoriety to where they can do whatever the fuck they want because they've earned it.
Right. Honestly, like
Boruto and Dragon Ball Super, like they release on like a monthly basis.
This is true. I will say though that Kishimoto actually had like that other series that eventually yeah, the one that eventually got axed. So it's also just simply out of interest as well.
Yep. I mean, like I always ask because I know they also do a vote for the rankings, I think. So I'm just curious as to whether the vote is only held in Japan, and if they do not hold an international vote.
That's interesting. I don't know anything about that. All I can do is just make a comparison between like what Kishimoto left behind, which is Naruto, and try to move forward with a different series, but that not like panning out too well. And then we have like we have Hero who did Fairy Tail, right? He still carries on with Fairy Tail, but for a while moved over to Eden Zero. And from what I understand,
he's doing both.
Yeah, okay, he's doing both. And that Eden Zero, the latter, is going still. And a lot of people, it is successful. And I think, people just point out the fact that it's too similar from Fairy Tail. And I think that's for a good reason.
It's because that's Kishimoto's wheelhouse. Not Kishimoto, Mashima.
Yeah, because I think that, well, first of all, I love Eden Zero as like a concept of like the setting, but because it leans to its like previous work quite a lot as far as just simply just comparing the characters and whatnot, obviously, but they are their own different characters. But
yeah, for sure,
it's because that like people from like are already like associated with those characters that people will still kind of be hooked onto it. So I can understand that argument back on Reddit, where it's just like you kind of need to stick to a certain like way of like writing things and also drawing as well, to kind of keep the series going. Of course, there's different exceptions, but I think that Eden Zero might be one of those that was a case where it's just like a lot of its backing was simply because of the fact that Fairy Tail was such a strong thing, well, was such a like a good series for a lot of people, with the exception of the ending and everything like that. But we just kind of like browse over that, glance over that. But yeah, it just kind of like leans on a lot of the resources already like set in stone. So I think that it definitely relies on that like at the beginning, but I think it's probably standing on its own now.
I've been very much enjoying 100-Year Quest.
I honestly have not had been able to find like a good resource to like read that, because I was reading like a good number of those chapters, and eventually I kind of like fell off of that, but I was like, all right, where do I read this again?
You forgot.
Because everything else is just on Viz, and that's convenient, but unfortunately
It's I mean,
Eden Zero
because
is not included, but I think it's on. Wait, isn't it on Crunchyroll? Crunchyroll has manga there too, right?
that and there's about 5,000 different sites you could use to read it.
Yes. Thank you, Mark.
I'm just saying, man.
Yes, that's very on brand of you. Yes.
It's on brand in my name and in what I would say.
But yeah, I just kind of fell off that series. I honestly kind of want to wait for like, and because I'm kind of more of an anime person, so like I would just kind of watch the anime. And for, I think for the US, we kind of like went through like our first batch of things. I know that there's more episodes out there, but I'm like, I guess we're still waiting for Netflix like over here to release more. I don't know how that works out.
Of Eden Zero.
Yeah, because they're
coming this month.
Oh really? Okay, cool. Because I really was starting to like grow on like the anime. The pacing was kind of weird, but it's in a way that like it's just a non-stop like go of like where you're going. So
in December you also got Stone Ocean.
Oh yeah, that is also there as well. I'm curious about Stone Ocean as well, even though like I don't know much about that, but it is the fact that this is what was it? Jotaro's like, what was it? Niece or something like that? No, daughter.
That's his daughter.
Okay. And like obviously Jotaro has like literally been around a couple like seasons before, but it's gonna be interesting to see how he will be like the supporting character in this particular circumstance. I should catch up on the other JoJo's. I literally just I think what was it, Phantom Blood? It's just it went so slow for me, like near the end.
Part 2.
And then
have you even started part 2? Because
the one with Jonathan, right?
Part 2 is the one with Joseph.
Oh wait, yeah.
Pull it up, Tommy.
Oh no, oh sorry, I got mixed. Because what was it? Jonathan's actually the first one, and then Joseph is the following one. Okay. No, I haven't. Like, I know the episode. This is like immediately like the aftermath of like Phantom Blood. And I know what happens. I know what happens to Jonathan. I know what happens to him, and I know that it leads immediately to like what Joseph's going to be doing. But I kind of just dropped off on that. It was like a really good stopping point for me, and I just never like hopped back on again.
Oh, what happened to Jonathan doesn't come to light until part 3.
Wait, what? Oh,
yeah.
Wait, no, sorry, not Jonathan. Wait, who's the first one?
The first JoJo is Jonathan. But what happens to Jonathan at the end of part 1 isn't even brought up until fucking really part fucking 3.
Oh shit, then. Oh, that's weird. Then like what am I watching? Obviously, this is the fatal flaw of those who like me who get glimpses of like certain like things, but not in a particular order. so you know things that happen like in the story, but you haven't like watched everything like organically from start to finish. So I'm looking at this like video thumbnail thinking like, oh, this is the one like where Jonathan gets what he gets, but it might not be that case then.
Because you saw all of part 1, right? Like shit blew up and everything.
Yeah, well, I didn't see that part. I know that's the episode I'm going to be on though.
So you haven't even finished.
Technically speaking, no, but I already know what happens. Laugh all you want. This is just how I do it.
Shit blew up already, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't watch it, but I'm like, excuse me.
Well, that's why I'm saying that's the fatal flaw. You already see glimpses of this, a la clips on YouTube, and you just don't like. And that's just your knowledge now until you like watch the actual original work. But in the meantime, that's what you have. So when I say that, like, oh, I know it's gonna happen, the ship like pretty much blows up and everything like that, but I haven't watched the actual episode yet. I just saw a clip of that there.
Yeah,
so I finished, but I didn't finish.
That's where part 1 ends, and then after that is when part 2 starts.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
And then all throughout that, I mean, like after that, part 2 has its own thing that happens with the Pillar Men, and then in part 3, that's when we see the return of Dio.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, because I know that again, because I know that like, what I don't remember what it is. As far as like what was called, oh yeah, Stardust Crusaders. Yeah, that's when Dio comes back.
Yep, and then there's and then after that, there's gonna be Diamond is Unbreakable. That is with Josuke. Then after that is Golden Wind, which is with Giorno.
Yeah. Giorno theme. Swear to God.
Giorno Giovanna.
But yeah. I think that's pretty much it on like the manga words. Actually, that wasn't even part of our title. That just kind of happened organically. So
well, I mean, I read a bunch of series I could talk about, but we also have other stuff to cover.
This is true. I wanted to like touch bases back on like that previous topic I was bringing up about, and that was finishing up Rise of 2, because it's interesting with this one because obviously, and I guess I should give some history on it too. So I know that like at the time, like the first game, Atelier Rise 1, was being shown on different retailers, Best Buy specifically for me. I've seen covers of that like game, and I was just like, I see what they're trying to do. I don't think I want to be a part of that. So for a good while, I avoided that game, and it was only shortly after meeting Phil that he was kind of bringing up that game again, and I was like, do I really want to? And it was at a point where like it stopped being shown up on like retailers, and like the price was starting to go up a little bit. But he pretty much convinced me like, hey, you should really like try out this game. And honestly, I have no idea if he actually tried it out himself, but it was one of those things where it's like, I guess I should just give it a try. And I actually ended up loving Rise of 1 like a lot, because it was actually much more like complex of a game than I gave it credit for. And I understand why other people would see that, like especially when you just see the gameplay. And we're not even talking about the promotional art. Of course we see the promotional art and people are like, oh, I know what they're trying to do. Oh no, this is they're obviously like, the Atelier series has gone on for a while actually, but a lot of people don't really pick it up. And then I feel like obviously the change of the main protagonist and like how they are just kind of like promoted sales over here, which then actually worked to their benefit.
You mean the plumping of thighs?
I didn't say that specifically, but I'm not denying that.
Legit, when Phil posted it, first thing I did, I was a zoom into the thighs. I was like, well, hello.
Of course. And like to much my dismay, which is the original reason why I just didn't want to be involved in trying out that series. I was curious, but I was also like, I don't want to be like interested in this game just because of the visuals that I see, but it should be because like the gameplay is interesting. but I never got to see that until like Phil introduced that to me, and I was like, okay,
What I'm saying, don't deny just because you don't want to be considered the horny. Try it out first.
right. So and that's the problem, is that I didn't really see a lot of people like hyping this game up at all. Well, aside from like a couple YouTube videos that do advocate for this game. Um, but yeah, TLDR, like I ended up liking that first game a lot, and now we're on to like the second game, which is actually, you know, it is available like on like PlayStation 4, and it's also available on Switch. I've seen more of the PlayStation 4 version a little bit more often, so if anyone's curious about that, it's down to like $40 there physically. So
The higher performance.
yeah, for sure. You can also get it on PC via Steam as well, so there's that.
See, even higher performance.
Yeah, even higher performance. I will tell you though, you can only get so much mileage, and I'll tell you why. So Rise of 2, this is like going to be a really quick review of the game. It's actually a really fun game as far as just like building up on the old mechanics of the previous one. It's a JRPG, so you'll have a cast of characters. You do level up, but what makes this stand out from other RPGs is it's a whole like alchemy system, which is on top of like having like a level up system. You also have like a gathering and synthesizing type of like mechanic where each world or area, excuse me, that you go and pick stuff up from, you have these ingredients that you go back to your atelier and you build these things up to make a whole new item, whether it be used for battle, for recovery, for further exploration tools. And what ends up happening, well, for me, I can only speak on my own behalf, is that you end up kind of getting like sucked into like that whole mechanic, and you just kind of focus in on just that. And it's oddly very addicting when you're someone who wants to just kind of like discover all these new things that you can make, because if you're natural, or at least you have an affinity towards like exploring stuff, picking up stuff, you get rewarded by just simply tweaking like all your different recipes together and making new stuff. And it's just like a really cool thing that like I had an affinity towards. So that's where a lot of my praises go to. The second one is definitely the music. The music's actually very, very underrated, because it's actually like there's jams, and there's also just like really nice, like I guess orchestral like bits here and there, and it's just like all of it's like really, really good. What else did I say here? We could talk about the character designs for a bit. Everyone's is kind of like interesting, especially in Rise of 2. This is so weird. I guess I'll go ahead and like pick out on like Ryza for a little bit. So Ryza in like both 1 and 2 are, she's kind of depicted as like the rebellious one, the one that stands out a lot. You can tell like just by how she decides to wear sleeves. Some like one sleeve, the other one's just like it's not even like attached to her. And you're like, what the fuck are you, girl, what are you doing? But I see what they were trying to do. Essentially, like her character design in this game is pretty much like quote unquote traditional like style, like dressing like on like her right side, and left side's just like I don't really care about that. So they create like a balance in that, in the sense that she was completely rebellious in the first one. Second one, she's more responsible, but she also has like a little bit of that side of her that is still very just like I go on my own, like the beat of my own drum type of thing. And that's pretty much all I can really say about like the character depiction. She's obviously designed thick, okay? And that's almost, actually that's kind of solely off of just
Go team.
That's solely off of the fact that like they want sales, so they designed a character that could push sales like that. But outside of that, there's nothing in the game that ever like highlights that, and I gotta give them credit for that at the very least, in the sense that like they know what they're doing just to promote the game, but her appearance isn't something that they pick at like in the game itself. The characters are absolutely like blindsided by like how she dresses, like how she looks. And so, like, obviously the game can probably be suggestive here and there, I'm sure, if you like look like closer in on it. But obviously, like, when you actually play the game itself, that's like her physical appearance isn't a thing to them, and I can at least respect them for that, in the sense that like it's a it's a character driven game where you will learn about these characters. You might pick favorites. I end up liking like a lot of them anyway. um and it's just aside from promotional stuff, it's just that's really just it. um Kind of going over to the characters things, I was going to say that the story in Rise of 2 is just okay. Rise of 1's also just okay.
It's I.
It's they have a direction they want to go, and a lot what pushes you forward is just simply characters interacting with each other, because that's kind of like the important thing. They want to build it to that moment in the game where like at the end you start bawling out for absolutely no reasons, like, bro, what the fuck, why you got me like this?
Why like this?
Because the issue is that like alchemy and the battle mechanics are like solid, the music's super great. One of the lacking things is just like an added depth to the story, but specifically just the character models in the game, like, and their animation is like from a previous generation. You can tell that. The best way I can describe it is that if you ever see like just the depiction of like a game like being developed like in an anime, right? It's an anime where it shows off like games here and there, and they either just get assets of Street Fighter, for example, or they just have like a generic like JRPG that they're working on in like some type of anime, and they just show that off, and it's just super clunky, doesn't look like it's playable. It looks kind of like that, except a little bit more polished. So that was my only gripe with the game, was the fact that like, you know, you kind of lose that level of immersion like there, because like the characters are like super stiff when you go walk around. Like when they turn to look at another character, they literally move their entire bodies. Of course, it's not like 100% like they just pivot like this. They sometimes do though. Yeah, like they sometimes do that. Matter of fact, I think they do. So if they ever did make like a third game, I would really love for them to just simply push towards development on that, especially when they have really good sales. Otherwise, I think that's understandable why they choose that as the last thing they'll ever touch up on. Just like aside from just simply the character models of the actual characters, like your main roster, everyone else is super duper generic.
Super generic.
Yeah, I cannot like. You'll look in two directions. You'll see the same character model.
Pain.
And like the expressions on their faces are just like, it's hardly there. Like you'll know who's the supporting cast. You'll know it. Aside from like how they dress.
Exactly who it is.
But yeah, all in all, I just wanted to just like take this like platform just to say that like Rise 2 and Rise 1, matter of fact, are really good. And I can see why there is like a niche audience like for this, or at least it's beloved by like just a few people. And I think it's actually a franchise that should be pushed out there. And I think for better or for worse, Ryza and Ryza 2 have done a pretty good job in just kind of pushing that out there and bringing this to kind of like a somewhat mainstream. It's to a point where it's like, I think they'll probably make a third game. And if they make a new like series, as far as just like a new protagonist, they're probably going to take notes. They're probably going to take notes. It's not going to be just innocent stuff. It's going to be like, we know who our target audience is.
We know exactly who's buying.
But yeah, aside from that, it is a really good game, and I do definitely recommend it when you can, especially just to support, because there's a lot of good things about it. I will say this: it shows on both games, but these games are actually just strictly like Japanese dub, and that's not really a surprise to a lot of people. What's a cool thing is that when you beat both games, there's a little bit of an extra tab that shows up on the title of the screen. You can check out like the concept art that kind of shows up here and there. For the most part, the game runs in its own engine, so it just kind of does what it does. But they do have some cool illustrations of like certain moments here and there that are those are wallpaper worthy. But they also have like a segment where they show all the character cast and their voice actors kind of saying a little quick bit here and there about like their time recording and how they feel about the characters. And it's a fair like 20 minutes of just kind of like listening to everyone's like dialogue as they talk about like their experience. It's not in full detail, but it's just like, it's such a nice little touch to show that like, hey, we've been working on this project for a while and I hope that everyone's like enjoyed the game since you beat it. I had like a blast recording for this character. Like I feel that they've definitely grown over the past 3 years that between the games, and just happy how it all turned out. And I just think that's just like a super cool thing. And I think that despite how unpolished it kind of looks, there was definitely like a lot of like love and care done to like the game in other like facets of it. So yeah, that was what do we call those? That's my little spiel. Let's just say it like that.
Little spiel.
My TED Talk. This has been my TED Talk. Play some of those Tale Air games. Although I don't know if I want to jump into the other ones. I have no idea like if I'll like cling to those like a little bit more so. But we'll see. There's a bunch of other games there too that I got. Speaking of which, I actually wanted to do like a quick show and tell. I actually don't know if like the camera's gonna catch this. Maybe not. But you know, the whole buzz about Elden Ring got me to like finally put like orders on like, oh, you can't really see it, but Dark Souls Remastered and Dark Souls 2. I talked about it a little bit. I'll go ahead and like change the face cam here, change the background. But I found out that this case specifically for Dark Souls 2, it's a little chipped, or actually a little cracked, which is kind of problematic. But at the same time, I know that it's kind of difficult to find like copies of like Dark Souls like 2 that are in like actual like good condition. So I'm gonna give them the pass on that one. Okay, cool. Yeah, here are these two. So I have Dark Souls 3 like in the back from way back when. This is back when the guys lived at the house. It was under the same circumstances where like Bandai Namco had like a Black Friday sale, and I decided to pick up like Dark Souls 3 on a whim, and I proceeded to never play that game. I only played like the digital like download copy of the OG 360 version of Dark Souls. So here's the remastered, and here's 2. Bought through the same method too. So super nice. And actually today I went to a GameStop because they actually have like a sale, right, where it's like buy 2 get 1 free. But it's exclusively like either new or pre-owned. You can't do like mix and match. So I got these 3, and it's funny because this is an absolute like Neapolitan type of thing of just like 3 different like consoles here. So I just picked up Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is the recent release. And you know, I just tried to make sure that these are all like within the same price, so it's just like 2 for 1 exactly. So here's Shin Megami Tensei 5. This is the steelbook cover for it. It has a sleeve for it, but the actual like steel case is inside of it. This one I've been looking to pick up, but there's hardly any sales for it. But it's called 13 Sentinels, and apparently it's pretty good. Unfortunately though, someone like the guy like up front, although I applaud him for helping me find the titles that match up for the promotion, but there's a little bit of sticker like residue left on the top right for where their GameStop labels end up being. So I'll just have to like remove that like at some point, but happy that I have this here, and I'll just add it to the PlayStation small collection. And then the last one's Tales of Arise, because that like it was one of the only ones that like applied, and I was like, I'm getting that itch to like just pick up this copy specifically. So that's the pickups for today. It's just so interesting that it's like it's just it's Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox pickups this time around. So that's a really nice thing.
All kinds of pickups.
As far as when I'll actually get to Tales of Arise and the other ones, I'll let you guys know. It's a bit of a problem. Let's see. I was gonna say I'm just gonna change the background again. And then I wanted to talk about like a bit of the Marvel news, because this stuff popped up like yesterday and maybe the day before, but I was so stuck in this my own world of just finishing like Ryza 2 that I couldn't really like look into that. So Mark, I was wondering if you knew anything else about like what Marvel is like released slash Disney.
In regards to
Their new projects, including She-Hulk and whatnot.
I know, yeah, there's She-Hulk, there's Moon Knight. What else is coming out in 2022? She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, and the Guardians Volume 3, I believe.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Like I think those are what's coming out in 2022.
Okay, nice. I wanted to like do a quick highlight on that, because I think we're going. I mean, it's kind of been given since we finished up on Endgame, but aside from a couple of other like movies that kind of like are from like this previous generation of like Marvel like superheroes, for MCU specifically, we are transitioning over to like a new age of like superheroes, like post Endgame, excuse me. And it's one of those, it's weird for me, and I don't want to sound like a broken record. I've been like saying this like a couple times like within the Facebook chat, but I am unfamiliar with a lot of these new characters. Like I didn't know anything about the Eternals. Shang-Chi that was a new one for me. She-Hulk has been around, but definitely not in the major spotlight, so we don't really get to see her a lot, but otherwise she's like really new as far as the lore for me. Moon Knight is also included there too, which was also shown off in Eternal, spoiler alert. Wait, actually no, that's not the right one. No, that was that Dark Knight? And then Blade?
Black Knight.
Yeah, it was okay, yeah. It was Black Knight and then a little bit of Blade. Although you don't really get to see that one, but people are just saying that. And then
Wait, hear his voice.
but I do know that Moon Knight's a thing that they're working on, and I was like, damn, dude. And I remember
to see how they do his character.
I'm curious too, because like aside from the fact that these are like new faces, then like obviously I think everyone kind of is on the same boat where like if you see something a little bit unfamiliar, you're kind of like hesitant about it. That's kind of how I was looking at these new characters, knowing that they're all part of the same universe, but their powers start to vary quite a lot. Like obviously we just saw like a reveal of Black Knight, right? And I gotta like think that like this character exists in this universe of where there's a mixture of like kind of down to earth, but they're just super soldiers, and then there's also the fair bits, like fair different people like Doctor Strange, obviously Scarlet Witch, and then slightly more recently just learning about Captain Marvel and everything like that, to know that there's just a guy with a sword out there.
Oh, it's way more than just the sword.
I probably would agree like 100%, but I ask at this time to not know anything else other than that.
I mean, granted, yes, the sword is a huge part of his power, but I mean, it does a lot more than just sword.
All right, because it's essentially the same thing with Hawkeye too, where it's just like we got robots out here, we got lasers, and I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
I mean, the way his sword works is kind of like Mjolnir.
All right, we got it. I was saying like, listen, I love to live in like blissful ignorance of these new like characters, and I think I want to embrace a little bit more of this ignorance that I have of these new characters.
I'm going to embrace the ignorance to the utmost level.
Because I didn't know anything about Shang-Chi and the 10 rings, so it was actually really cool to see like that play out in the movie, where these rings existed for a long ass time, but yet as like the movie watcher with no like comic book references or anything, for me, I still don't know exactly what the origins of the 10 rings really are and their impact on the world, especially since
Neither do I.
so I kind of like that idea, and I want to see how it gets further developed in the movie, especially since like at the end, like this is spoilers here for Shang-Chi, but the final credits were definitely just simply like Bruce Banner and a little bit of like Captain Marvel just in there, but she leaves immediately. But it was also Wong there as well. They were talking about how like where'd you find these 10 rings, because there's something else to them, and then they just kind of leave you at that.
Where
But
exactly did you get these?
like how, like where, like my dad just had them like for thousands of years. Like, man, it's just
You just had them for long ass time.
And then, the whole thing about the Eternals, I didn't know about the Eternals except for the whole talk about Celestials. Like I've heard the term about Celestials before and how that kind of was associated with Thanos a little bit. But aside from that, I don't know these individual characters. So obviously when you see Icarus flying and shooting laser beams out of his eyes, you're going to be like,
Superman?
hold on. The kid said better himself. You're Superman.
Reference.
It's like, oh my god, I can't believe they just dropped that name. They're fully aware.
But of course, that also comes into. I mean, I'm fairly certain it's all going to be leading up to a conflict with a certain individual.
Okay.
Galactus.
Then, wait, what?
I feel like this is going to end up being into a fight with Galactus.
I was thinking that too, because Galactus is a huge motherfucker. And I gotta wonder, like, is he a Celestial?
He's stronger than Celestials.
Well, shit, dude. Then everyone's fucked.
He eats planets.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Celestials are birthed from planets. Fuck, this man eats them.
Bruh. He'll have them scrambled. Thank you.
And I mean, which also means like which also would work because the Fantastic Four is coming back, and you remember there was a movie called The Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer, and the Silver Surfer he's the Herald of Galactus.
He's the what?
Essentially, he's the Silver Surfer is kind of the Herald of Galactus. He kind of he kind of works for him in a sense.
Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah, I guess they do have to like do Fantastic Four again, and the Silver Surfer.
And what's unfortunate is, there's characters they've been wanting to introduce, but they haven't gotten a chance to introduce, like Richard Rider, aka Nova. I've been wanting to see Nova, but they haven't gotten the chance to introduce Richard Rider yet.
Yeah.
They've had chances, but they just haven't been able to quickly get it. Like Richard Rider was with the Nova. He's like supposed to be the last remaining member of the Nova Corps, and the Xandar was already fucked. So they could actually bring him in now, but it depends on when they're actually going to bring him in.
So there's just a bunch of other like Marvel like characters that like we've yet to see, and I could have sworn that I saw like possibly a good listings of like different characters showing up later on in the future, not 2022, but just like later on. Actually, hold on, I kind of want to just check this out, because I know another character that they can definitely bring in later, if not sooner, is Miss Marvel.
Yeah, they're working on her.
Yeah.
She might be one of the ones in 2022 that I forgot.
Oh yeah, so I'm just looking at the Marvel website. So of course they got Fantastic Four, they got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. That's gonna be interesting how that like falls into that. The Marvels, Blade, Black Panther, excuse me, Wakanda Forever, Love and Thunder, Thor. Of course you said Doctor Strange, and the rest of them are pretty much just familiar. So, wow, they're kind of going through the other timelines too.
Yep, and of course I mean, there's also like all kinds of other characters that could be introduced alongside all of them in these movies. Like, I mean, there's been the heavy rumor going around that in Black Panther 2, we will finally see the first ever Marvel character that was ever made.
The first Marvel character ever made.
aka Namor the Submarine.
Oh,
Namor the Submariner.
Namor. Oh yeah, I do remember Namor. And God bless Death Battle for that one.
I mean, Namor is he was essentially the first Marvel character. I think actually, believe he actually was the it says right here first appearance. First appearance, Motion Picture Funnies Weekly #1, uncirculated, Marvel Comics #1, October 1939.
1939, dude.
And he is a very much he kind of just does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, yeah, and I guess we can talk about this a little bit because I just kind of know the lore via Death Battle, but wasn't it the case that like he's a mutant?
He is the first. He would be a good introduction for mutants in the universe.
It would be, but isn't he kind of like the Aquaman equivalent?
Technically, Aquaman is the Namor equivalent.
Something like that. So
Namor came first.
I guess so, yeah. But he's just like he's a water dweller as well. Is that right?
He's also the king of Atlantis.
He's also okay. Got you. So
that's the thing is Aquaman is literally just a copy of Namor.
So yeah, another motherfucker like walking into the MCU, and I at this point again, I gotta say it, I feel so bad for Planet Earth because they literally have to go with this.
Yep.
They are a magnet to the supernatural. And
I mean, on top of that, he's just gonna like if Namor comes in, that's just gonna open a lot of doors for a lot of different things.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I know that like obviously there's Deadpool and everything like that, and how they obviously poke fun the fact that like this is like with Fox and they're not really showing all the other X-Men, just with a few, and they know exactly why they would do that. And then we of course see like Sony's side with like Venom, and then there's a bit of a Carnage, and then I think there was another one. Oh, actually more recently that's been showing up as previews was
Mobius.
The Batman character.
Mobius. You say Batman as in a literal man who you mean a literal bat-like man?
Well, I mean kind of, yes, no.
Mobius. Michael Morbius.
Yes. And I was like, damn, do they actually have like a superpower Batman?
Yeah, he has got vampire powers.
So I was like, yo, this is kind of cool. Like, but it's also gonna be like, is he gonna show up later on in the MCU? Like, how are they gonna? Oh my god, I feel so bad for the people of Earth.
I feel so bad for whoever's got to tie this in because this is gonna be difficult to tie in.
Yeah, dude. Like, they have so many people that's just showing up. It makes you wonder,
I mean,
like
as long as you go one movie at a time.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're carefully doing it. You can do it easily. But if you're working with two different companies,
this is true.
This is Sony and Marvel working on this.
Yeah. So they either intertwine or they never do. And they also have to keep in mind that, like, just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they also have to comply with any events that happen during their timeline, like the snap.
The snap.
Or the blip. I hate that. They call it the blip.
Blip.
The blip.
Blip.
But yeah, it's so interesting to see like how this is all gonna play out. Like I just like, when's the next type of like Avengers like film, and what's it gonna look like? Because obviously when we first saw like Avengers back in, what was it, 2008, 12, one of those.
The very first Avengers. I think
very first Avengers
was like somewhere between 2008 and 2012.
Yeah, I mean that was hype, and they definitely did a fair job in just like connecting everything together. I mean, it really was just like the origins of all these different heroes coming together, and now they found a way for them to just exist peacefully, like along the same timeline. But now we have like all these different characters showing up, and there's already a time frame which they need to be like inserted in, but they also have like their own lore in the back, so you have to consider that too, like the Eternals.
And we'll also have to see like what the fuck Marvel plans to do with the Inhumans.
This is true. Also, Yeah, and I also wanted to point out the fact that like there's also actual witchcraft that's happened in like Marvel, and that's like depicted by like shown in WandaVision. I don't know why I forgot her name. The villain, especially with that catchy ass song. What was it? Agatha. It was Agatha all along.
Oh,
But she's an actual witch. I was like, what the fuck?
and actually, what you're like, he.
My God, no stones affiliated. It's just like it's pure witchcraft. Oh my God, dude. And you know, damn, dude, WandaVision was so good, especially when they like brought in like Quicksilver again. But it was different. Damn, dude. Oh shit, you know, we never really talked about like the new Vision. He left.
Oh yeah, New Vision is gone.
White Vision is just gone, and we don't even know what's gonna happen. Is he gonna try to like reconnect with like Wanda again because he has the memories, or what? That's gonna be weird.
I mean, technically, he's just Vision now.
I guess so. It's just gonna be weird because we already had like Captain America and Carter moment in two different timelines, or not two different timelines, but just like him getting with Peggy, and then for a quick bit it was Sharon.
Yep.
And we were like, wait, and they may have, that might have been the reason that Cap stayed behind.
And we'll also have to see like what they're gonna do with the other things because they like to connect their TV series and their movies. We know this. They like to connect both of them,
Yeah,
and
Bofa.
that leaves the canceled they're not the canceled but the discontinued Netflix series. Like per se, like Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Well, they did. Well, there
Jessica
were leaks
Jones.
about No Way Home, right? Specifically for Daredevil, or at least his actual persona or his person.
I mean, because if they reintroduce Daredevil, because like they don't need to change anything, like because as long they could just start airing those shows on Disney Plus.
This is true.
Literally no reason they can't.
I think the only thing they would have to do is just keep consistent of like the character. I mean, Hulk was kind of like an exception. Hulk was an exception because that was like
Because it's owned
Paramount.
by Paramount.
Right. But like I think now they would probably want to be consistent like who's being cast for like the other TV works, because the leak that I saw was literally just like of No Way Home, Peter sitting with Happy with Aunt May, and like in the table there is literally our dude Daredevil himself.
Like the actual is the in his like lawyer getup or
His lawyer getup. You can definitely like
Yeah.
because the black shades, because he has the walking stick, he's just casually like having with them. Yeah, that's him. Like you can't. It's like it would have to be some other like blind like lawyer at that point, because like it would have to be him.
So I mean, like he may make a surprise entrance then in No Way Home.
I think if anything, maybe just like a very like good cameo, and I mean like a cameo where he just appears, he talks a little bit, but you can get a feel like of his character. He's gonna run his fingers through some like printed text, and he's gonna tell you like this is what he's reading, and everyone's like gonna give him like a look, and that's gonna be the end of it. At least that's how I kind of envision it. He's gonna be. It'll just be
he's
a
gonna come in and save Peter at a very crucial moment.
Yeah, it's a very crucial moment. And he might say a couple like weird, like obscure things to Peter, saying like Peter, I've been through this kind of stuff before. You just gotta fight through it, like from previous experience.
Don't worry, I brought friends. Out comes the Defenders: Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Punisher, and Iron Fist.
See, those folks, except for Jessica Jones, are really made for like fighting. I don't know if they can solve a case of like how can we prove Peter's innocent.
That's what I'm saying. He's gonna come save Peter at a crucial moment. I meant in the fight.
That would be interesting. You know what? Because Peter, like, obviously more experience. The idea of like No Way Home is that like he's gonna be fighting all these other like dudes that other Spider-Man have
old
worked with
villains.
before. And we're gonna just address the elephant in the room right now. We're probably gonna see like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man showing up there too. But I mean, let's say they have a hard time still.
I mean, it's been said they still haven't been seen on set.
I would say that maybe the Defenders could show up there if that was the case.
Could you imagine? Because like, there's so many villains. There's Doc Ock and there's Green Goblin, and there's probably going to be the villain from the other Amazing Spider-Man 2, the electric one. I forget his name.
That's just Electro, I think.
I mean, like Electro. Like,
Oh
all
yeah,
three
because
of them.
yeah, Jamie Foxx is coming back.
So that means it'd be just Peter against the three of them. So it makes absolute sense that if not Doctor Strange, then we're gonna have him have backup in the sense of the Defenders.
Actually, I mean, obviously, like Doctor Strange is he's gonna be the Iron Man in Captain America 3, essentially.
Unless it's the theory that it's the evil Doctor Strange from the What If.
They could go that route, but I don't think so because they definitely wrapped up What If nice and tightly with a bow. So I don't think we're gonna see like that Strange showing up because he's already got his hands like preoccupied. So
And did you hear about Henry Cavill being cast as Captain Britain?
Captain Britain.
Yep.
So wait, does that mean they're gonna try to do something like actually? Because oh my god,
Superman is Captain Britain.
Captain Britain.
I'll Google it just to make sure. That's what I heard. Let me just check.
Listen, I'm still like over the fact. I'm still trying to get over the fact that they tried to make a Russian Captain America or Captain Russia.
Oh yeah, Captain Communism.
I feel bad for our dude though. Like,
He was the more comedic version of Captain America, honestly.
it's true.
Even
But even though he had
Captain
the
America
shield
could be
throws, he had to get bodied by. Well, not really bodied, but like he was definitely gonna lose to Taskmaster at the time.
There's also Henry Cavill is interested in playing James Bond, and the Marvel character he said he'd want to play is Captain Britain.
Damn.
So he hasn't been cast as it, but he says that if it's ever on the table, he says he's down.
If not, it's fine. I'll be over here. I'm gonna build my PC again.
Fucking Henry, he really is just like he is the Giga Chad of nerds.
The Giga Chat of nerds.
Let's face it, he is our Giga Chad. The man's a walking, talking sex symbol who loves everything that we do usually.
Oh my god! But I think that's pretty much everything. Oh my god, I am really curious to see like how Marvel goes forward and just the representation of all these different like new characters showing up in the MCU. And to see the next Avengers out of that group is going to be interesting. If they threw in the Defenders in there, I'll be floored. I don't even know what they're going to do with that.
Honestly, that was something they were missing in the final fight with Thanos was the Defenders.
Can we just probably maybe conveniently say they all got snapped?
Possibly that, and they waited too long to do something with Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Adam Warlock's whole fucking reason for existing in the comics is to beat Thanos.
They're probably well aware of that, and they're just gonna put a comedic like fitting for that.
All right, where's Thanos? You're a little late.
Huh? I mean,
Huh?
I think only. Well, wait, hold on. You already watched Eternal? Actually, I should ask about that. Like, how's Eternals for you? I know that you kind of brought up
I
like.
liked it.
Okay.
Like it's not like oh my god, but it's like
Right.
it's good.
It's good. It feels like a standalone film, and I think that's a good thing.
It's funny because all the critics seem to hate it, but all the people who just went to the theater to watch it seem to love it.
That's kind of how it ends up being. Like critics are just gonna be having to be super critical. And if it's anything less, it's kind of the whole Venom thing where it's like people love Venom, but the critics are like, this is shite, dude.
I mean, this is what I'll say. Venom, if you look at it as a movie, it's a standalone movie, it's good.
Yeah.
But if you look at it as a Venom movie,
You're gonna be like, this is hot
not
doo doo.
Venom. This is not Venom. It's a good movie. It's just not exactly a Venom movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I would describe it. Like it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Like again,
like-
yeah, as you say, it's a good standalone film. But like given context of like what the character is and how they're involved in this universe,
He is not
Ooh.
like this at all when he is first introduced. He's not like this until much later.
yeah, they definitely just kind of gave like Venom like a much more funnier like persona instead.
Yeah, he's not an anti-hero until much later in his story.
Yeah, so understandable. But let me see. I don't think that there's anything else. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that like because of the Eternals, they introduced Star Fox, or his actual name, like actually what was
Eros, which is the Greek name for Cupid.
Okay, yeah. His name's actually Eros, but he also goes by Star Fox as well.
Arrow.
I honestly did not see that coming at all. And my next question is like, where was he when Thanos was out here like halving people's lives? Because it'd be one of those things where it's like, dude, that like, well, I think no, Thanos is the younger brother. That's what's told in like the canon. So he's the younger brother of Eros. And the reason that they look so different is because Thanos has the a deviant like syndrome. Where
Yep, which is why they don't look alike.
Yeah, which is it's interesting because like Thanos is a deviant. He's part deviant. So
he's got something that affects his physical appearance.
Right. So that's why like he's probably like taller and much more like built than other like Titans in that case.
Because otherwise, I guess the Titans look just like humans.
I mean, I could accept that too. It's just super interesting because like that adds another extra bit of lore. It's like, okay, so Thanos looks like this because in context, he has that deviant syndrome, which means a deviant got busy with somebody, and that's what's going on. So I'm like, I guess deviants do have like intelligence to them, especially when you give it to them. And so I guess I that's just another rabbit hole. I don't know if I want to like dig into that.
Spoilers.
Like it happened, so it happened, and now we have Thanos, and now Thanos is dead. And Eros is over here like, well, you know, that happened. I'm here to help out your folk, the Eternals. Also, I know about the Eternals.
We don't know about the Eternals, but also we kind of know about the Eternals.
My God, dude. And then the fact is, because you have all these different characters, you gotta wonder, like, did Doctor Strange know about this? Like, did he know about like the Eternals and just did not say a goddamn thing? Because from what I piece out from like Infinity War, he doesn't like know everything. He actually has to like look into the future, or he has to read up on it. So in that case, like he could have possibly just not thought up of like, or even picked up on the Eternals until the events happen, like with the movie. And at that point, he might bring it up in No Way Home or his own movie. So we'll see how that plays out. Oh shit. Actually, like his own movie is going to be really interesting to see, especially when you bring back Wanda. That's going to be interesting.
Big Ten.
Okay. I think that's pretty much everything. Well, let's go ahead and call it. But yeah, really good discussion, Mark. I'm just like super curious as to like how things will play out like going forward. And whatchamacallit, Mark, do we know if we're gonna have a D&D session today, whether it just be like a one-off type of thing?
Like we're supposed to be doing it tonight, so there can be a one-off or it's gonna be a continuation. Seppi said, just like you can play a character.
Yeah, should we just go ahead and follow up on that?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like what? That's like 7 my time, 4 y'all's time.
Oh yeah. I only say that because that would then affect like when I would stream like later today. But let me go ahead and just call for the podcast first. So, all right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you guys like tuning in. This has been episode 386 of DangIT Prodcast. My name is Justin.
Mark.
And thanks for watching. #bye everyone.